Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. So I'm carrying on my big champion rebalance series. We know there's a big champion rebalance coming in September. We don't know the details yet. This is just my opinion going through different factions. If I was leading the game, what would I tweak? What would I change? It sounds like, by the way they've written their posts in Discord, where they say a huge champion rebalance coming in September. The fact that they say rebalance and the fact that they say huge makes me think that there's likely to be buffs and nerfs. So I'm calling out nerfs if I feel like I see them. That's very emotional. People were really emotional in my video yesterday. Fine, I get it. But you know what? I'm not here to try and make a whole new friendship group. I'm just telling you the facts. One thing I would add, and it's something that I was talking to my Twitch stream about yesterday. If you guys want to catch me on Twitch, I stream 5 nights a week, Wednesday through to Sunday, 8 PM UK time. We have a blast. Come and check it out. We were talking about what could you do. You know, if you've got a champion that gets nerfed, how do you make sure that the player is, or the player's got an opportunity to take their resources back? And Hearthstone do this really well. So Hearthstone's like a card game, if you don't know it. Basically, if they make a major nerf to a card in their game, then when you log back in after that nerf, they actually give you the opportunity to turn that card into a dust, which you can then use to buy other cards. So they do it really well. And I think that Raid, if they're going to do a proper session of nerfing champions, and I don't know if they are, but if they do, then they should give people the opportunity to get their stuff back. So I think, let's say they nerfed War Maiden. I think, and I've made this War Maiden a 50, they should give you the opportunity to turn that War Maiden back into a 3-star level 1 champ. And in this instance, refund me 4 level 4 chickens. And any books that I've already put into. So 1 rare book, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I should get 5 rare books back in my inventory. So chickens and books come back and you get the champion back as a level 1 3-star. Or obviously it'd be a 4-star for epic, whatever. But I think that would be a really good way to sort of solve a lot of the emotional connection you've got to your champions. Because you might end up just saying, you know what, I'll refund 5 of the ones that got nerfed, but I can invest that into some of these new ones that are being buffed. So today's video, we're going to go through 3 more factions. So I've done Bannerlord, High Elf, and Sacred Order yesterday. I'll ping that above if you want to see that as well. But we're going to kick off with Barbarians. Now, I'm only talking about epics and legendaries in these videos. We could go into rares, but the videos would just go too long. So this is a faction with a whole bunch of epics, which are a whole bunch of trash. Literally, out of all of these epics, what we got? 4, 7, 10, 13 epics. I would only take maybe 2 of them out to dinner. Maybe 2. No, literally, they're terrible. They're literally terrible epics in this faction. So I'm going to call out some of the ones which badly need a buff. Aina actually hits kind of hard, and she's got some okay stuff going on. I feel like she would be hugely better if she just got something like a shield off some of her damage. So a bit like Gala Longbraids. If you could put a shield which mitigates, because she's got such low defense, right? As soon as she's done damage, great. She'll then get smacked and she'll be on the floor. So if she could get a shield for a percentage of the damage she's doing, I think it would dramatically improve her. Or if she could have a lower turn cooldown on stuff like the decreased defense and weaken, so that it was more possible to keep it on all the time. So even if it's like 1 more turn cooldown here and 1 more turn cooldown here, because it goes on for 3 turns, you could actually get her running on like a 4 for free and get her ability back. Jotun just needs an overhaul. Look at this beefcake. He literally looks sweet. I'd love him on my I'd love him on my rugby team, but it turns out he's on the rugby team. You think he's big in the scrum, and he's just falling over all the time. He gets tackled by the smallest guy in their team. He is weak. He actually just needs two things, I think. I think he needs for this decreased defense to be the big version. Come on, he's an epic. He's not a rare, he's an epic. Give him the big version decreased defense. And he just needs to hit harder, guys. His multipliers, maybe his multipliers, he's an HP champion. Set his multipliers to be based off HP. Yeah, not attack. He's got the weakest attack going. Set his multipliers off of HP and make him hit harder. Look at this guy. He's got this whacking great sword. He hits like an absolute noodle. So we've got the two sisters, Sikara and Maeve. I think they're the sisters, are they? Or is it this one? No, Aika. The two sisters, Sikara and Aika, they both came into the game as fusions, actually, as part of a fusion thing. I mean, they take so many books. It's insane. Like, cut some of this book stuff out and just build it into their kit is the first thing I'll do. Cut the books out. And again, damage based off attack, but she's got such a low base attack that she actually does very little damage. Buff her attack up and give her a chance. Buff her attack up, maybe another 200 more attack. She's got a nice healthy defense for a support champ. Give her a couple more hundred attack and then she'll be hitting hard and then she's actually kind of good. But remove some of this book requirement. It's insane. And same with this one. Get rid of some of these books. She's actually an attack-based champion with a good attack. So I think if you just gave them slightly better multipliers and removed the amount of books they need, then they could be useful. Aitor badly needs a buff. Just a couple more hundred defense. And actually he's got provokes. He's a tank. He would be all right. He'd be all right. But at the moment, he's got the defense of an attack-based champion. Terrible. Tashada just needs a damage boost. Her stats are good. Just needs a damage boost. Her kit's actually pretty interesting, but her damage is weak. So again, terrible champ. Kalia, she needs a buff. These barbarians are awful, guys. Absolutely shocking. HP burn is useful for clan boss. Heal reduction is useful in like just Fire Knights. Basically, that's the only place in the game. Triple hit HP burn, which is kind of okay for Spider. I would say something like debuff spread here. So let her place HP burn here and let her do a debuff spread here so that you can actually use her in Spider. And then she might have some utility in the game. But even so, and maybe make this a multi-hitter instead of an AoE so that it's useful for Fire Knights. At the moment, she's got no place in the game. She might as well be deleted from the game. She's useless. So Kalia definitely needs a rework. Woad Painted. What is this champion? I actually think the best thing you can do with this champion is delete her from the game. I honestly do. Or she would just need a complete rework. I guess the only other thing you could do is you could change one of these block cooldown skills for a heal reduction. Make this reflect damage a full team reflect damage. And then she might be able to come and play in Fire Knights. Green Affinity is not too bad for that. But at the moment, Woad Painted. Anyone who pulls her, it's a complete meme. The best thing about her is the way she dresses. That is it. She's got this cracking sword. Look at this sword. The sword's taller than she is. But she has got no purpose in the game. Icatoon's good. Vala's actually kind of good. Suwai, Firstborn. You get her as a Void Epic. You're like, what have I got? I've got Suwai. She's shocking. She can hit okay damage. But her kit is just kind of terrible again. Give her an AoE weaken. Why can't we have AoE weaken champs that can help us get through dungeons? There's very few of them. Her stats are actually okay, so that doesn't need changing. This second hit here will be a normal hit, which means it's weak. If you're going to give someone this mechanic of a second hit, you've actually got to allow it to be a crit. Otherwise, it's really pointless. So maybe make the second hit crittable and make this AoE weaken, and then she's got a chance. Shaman, I think, is actually kind of cool. So a lot of buffage required in the Barbarians. Absolutely terrible pool of champions for epics. Legendaries, however, are pretty cool. I actually like most of these epics. Legendaries. Most of these legendaries I like. I wouldn't swap Altan. I actually think he's kind of well balanced in the game. I think Sil is kind of well balanced. I think she's cool. Kantra, new champion. I think she's good. I think she's got a place in the game. I like it. If I was to change anything about her, I would try and make sure she's a bit more clan boss friendly. I don't know how you do that though, because she's got such an array of buffs here. But maybe I would slim this down. I would slim it down to remove something like the decreased accuracy, and perhaps swap it with a decreased defense. Or maybe I'd probably take this one out and perhaps this one out. So there's only 4, and she's got a chance to land 2 of them, but with a higher chance. So they all become kind of relevant to clan boss. And then for me, she's actually very cool. I think she's a good champ. The one that stands out to me that needs a buff is Elder Scarred. Kind of similar to what I said with Aina, really. Aina. This passive here, I think, reversed the passive. So at the moment, he receives less damage from legendaries. I think he should do more damage to legendaries. Receiving 15% less damage right now means nothing because his defense is so low, he's just getting slapped down anyway. Literally means nothing. So you may as well make it so that he's going to be an absolute nuker. And if you do that, then he could be cool. I also feel like he needs some sort of AoE damage for him to be relevant in the current meta. Compare him to a Foley, to a Trunda, to any of the kind of ethos, any of the big arena nukers, and that's what he's meant for. He's meant for being an arena champ. He is a bit like an Errol in that he can take one person down and then he sits down, which in the current meta, you can't really afford him a spot in the team. Or you have this 3-hitter to be a block revive. If you put a block revive on the 3-hitter, then that could be kind of cool as well, because you could take down someone like a Rotus and he's not getting back up. But at the moment, he just needs a bit of a rework. The only person here I might say could do with a nerf, and I think it would be a small one, is Madame Valkyrie. And this is going to make everyone cry. I know I should have bought a cup of milk for everyone about this bit, but her base stats are all insane. All insane. And this ability here is insane. Like, absolute standout, the best ability for clan boss in the game by a country mile. So she's insane for clan boss, but then this ability makes her also insane for the arena. I like both abilities, by the way. I don't want to change the abilities. I think they're both cool, and I think it's good that she's got versatility in the game. All I would actually do is I would slightly reduce the shield scaling from her A2. Because at the moment, she completely changes your clan boss setup, like, to make it infinitely stronger. And it's probably just a bit too hard on scaling compared to other legendaries out there. So that, or you have to change some of her base stats just down a nudge. Just a nudge if you're going to nerf her. But I love this champion, guys. Don't feel like I'm wailing. I've got her. I love her. I use her. But she's kind of up there in that kind of echelon of, is she actually too strong for the game? So that is Barbarians done. Let's move on to Ogryn Tribes. This isn't as big a tribe, as big a faction. So let's deal with the epics first then. Grimskin, I mean, he's had a buff already, but he still just hits so weak. If you're not going to make him hit harder, guys, if you don't want to get him to do some damage, just make this an AoE provoke. AoE provoke in the game is really strong, and it will make him very relevant for content in terms of just being a tank. But if you're not going to allow him to be a tank that sucks in all the damage, then you've got to make him hit harder. So one of the two, hit harder or AoE provoke. Great champion, probably slightly edging on the side of overpowered for an epic. I wouldn't nerf him, I think. I think it's good to have an epic that stands out there as crazy. He is one of those. If I was to change him at all, I would slightly reduce the multiplier on his A1 because he hits so damn hard. For all the other stuff he's got in his kit, he probably shouldn't be allowed to hit that hard. But I probably wouldn't change him, but if you were, then that's what I'd do. Shatterbone's already a good champ. This guy, I mean, he's on the adverts right now. He was actually one of my first epics I got, and I thought he was cool at the time, but he just does such little damage, and his base speed is shockingly low. Give him another 6 base speed, and then we need a rework on his kit. So I actually feel like the more I've looked at champions for this kind of series, the more I've realised that bombs are just too weak in everything apart from arena. So I think they need to rework the sort of damage that bombs can do outside of the arena, because this guy could then be fairly relevant. This is an interesting move if he hit harder. This is cool. Decrease defense A1. Place bombs everywhere is cool. Detonate after 2 turns. But for me, he needs to hit harder, and bombs generally need a rework in this game. Cage Breaker and Towering Titan, the two of them together just need some love. And again, it's probably just damage multipliers. Like he really is. Or instead of this, I hate this 4 times at random stuff. Just give him an AoE. An AoE sleep, and then all of a sudden he's kind of more useful. He's still not great, but he's more useful. AoE here is good. Decreased defense here is good. So if this was AoE, I would like it. And then a nudge more on his multipliers. Top Brawler's got his place in the game. I like him. Not tried out this new guy yet, but I will be soon. These two, I think, are... Maneater, I think, is cool. He's got his place in the game. Towering Titan, kind of similar. He's got the same move as his mate. That's his partner. Why have you given him the same A1? Give him a different one. Give him a decreased defense. Give him a decreased attack. So that the two of them come in as like clan boss duos, and then give him some. I mean, everything's based off attack here. Look how low his base attack is. I mean, it's shockingly low. Either change this to be based off HP, where his skill is, or massively up his attack so that he does some damage. At the moment, he's just not usable in the game, and he's a void epic. So he needs way more love. I'd say change this to decrease attack, make his damage multipliers off of HP, and then we might be going somewhere. So again, a small faction, but the epics are actually pretty dreadful apart from 2. So apart from 3, sorry. On to legendaries then. So Biggin, I think he's got his place in the game. I love him. I think his kit is awesome. War Mother, I mean, she is potentially like your clan boss decrease attack champion. She puts it out there like no one else. She just needs to be able to survive more. Like, give her another 150 base defense so she can survive. Make bombs do tons more against clan boss. Get them closer to a level of a poison to make this relevant. And again, the bomb rework kind of comes into play here. I like her kit if bombs were more effective. Ignatius, I think, has got a really cool kit. Yeah, I think I'd leave him. I think I'd leave him as he is. This guy, Moss Beard. What a meme this guy was. Came in as a fusion. Loads of people had got him. It looks cool. There was good thinking in terms of, slightly different type of champ, but he needs something changing big time. For me, I think forget about poisoning your own team. That's not where they should go. I think maybe it's something crazy like put a block buffs on your team, or what else could you put on your team? Or forget that completely and change the passive so that it scales. People do more damage based on the amount of debuffs that are on the enemy. So, if there's 5 debuffs on the enemy, you do 15% more damage. If there's 10, you do 30% type of thing. So instead of you gaining damage for debuffs on you, you gain damage for your whole team for the amount of debuffs on the enemy. Think about it. Bad Elf's got a 20% straight damage increase, yeah? So the idea with this guy was to give the opportunity to have more damage than Bad Elf, but punish you for doing it. The trouble is, the punishment's too high. It's too high, and then the rest of his kit doesn't synergize with it very well. So maybe it's as simple as this carries on, but this is more like a miscreated monster, AoE attack, and then you gain a massive shield from it. That could be quite cool. At the moment, his kit does not work at all for anywhere in the game apart from boosting damage dealers in Spider, and that's too niche to be useful. The other 2 champs here, I think, have got their place. Shamrock could probably do with a little bit more love, but he's actually not bad. He's not bad. He's just a bit meh. He's like a mid-tier legendary, but I probably wouldn't change him. I think you need some of those. So Lizardman then, last one I'm going to do today. We have got, again, like not many epics here, but the epics are really, really low tier. Like, if you pull a Lizardman epic, the only one you're happy with is Jareg. That's the only one. Nobody else there makes you feel warm inside. Yeah? Jarang, terrible, terrible epic. I like the A1, I like this, but probably needs a bit more of a multiplier going on because his attack is high. He actually doesn't hit that hard. His A2 kind of just needs to be an AoE stun to make him relevant. AoE stun, like a Husk level AoE stun would be cool. And his A3 probably just needs to be AoE. Just needs to be AoE, guys. Like, there's other epics out there doing this AoE, not random. AoE, decrease attack and defense. All of a sudden, it's like, wow, I love Jarang. Jarang's a great champ for me now. 4-turn cooldown, you know, maybe that would need to go up to 5-turn cooldown with 1 reduction. But make it AoE, then he's super relevant, and he's good. So AoE, a little bit more multiplier, and this guy's good. That's a massive change though, right? It's a massive change to get someone from sitting in the dregs to being reasonable, or to being good. Basilisk has kind of got a very niche place in this game right now. Again, just should make him hit harder, really. Maybe AoE stun here. Like, his kit is terrible. He's got this passive. That's the only reason why he's got any sort of place in this game for like an arena slowdown, an arena stall comp. That's it. Terrible. But he's got an AoE ability on his A1. Change this to an AoE ability as well. Then suddenly you might have someone that's a campaign farmer option and, you know, damage dealer option. But he would need to scale a bit higher in his damage. AoE stun here. I mean, it's a places a stun debuff, so it's a definite stun, which I guess is okay. I guess that's okay. Maybe that shouldn't be AoE, actually. A definite stun's too strong to be AoE. But maybe it becomes like an AoE 75% chance to stun sort of thing. This is AoE as well. Slightly better multiplier here, and I think he could be useful. Drake is kind of like the spirit version of a Relic Keeper, but he doesn't back it up with damage. So he's got grants an extra turn if he kills someone. They have to be so low for him to kill someone that it's just worthless. So again, give him the sort of damage that a Relic Keeper does, and he might be kind of cool for like early mid game. At the moment, he's not at all. He looks cool. You pull him, you think you got yourself a Drake, or if you haven't, you got yourself a Drake, and he's shockingly bad. The other thing I'd like to see on him is this second ability, which always crits. Give that grants an extra turn if you kill someone. That's where the grants an extra turn should come from, and then actually he's kind of cool. Decrease speed on one enemy, decrease accuracy on all enemies. I just think decrease speed and accuracy on all enemies. Just needs to be. Because decrease accuracy on all enemies is kind of weak in most content. So put them both out there, and then this is quite a nice ability. And then he might have some use in the game. Broadmoor is the other one I would kind of buff up. The thing I'd do here is just something quite simple, like make this a 30% increased speed, and then it says here, and grants an extra turn. And then all of a sudden, he might be useful. At the moment, he's a kind of meme that only is used in Faction Wars. So, onto the legendaries then. This is a tough call, guys. This is a tough call, because Draco is top draw legendary, right? He's top draw. Should he get a nerf? Question mark. I don't really want him nerfed, because he's probably one of my top champions in my team. So I don't want to see him nerfed. But he's probably a bit OP. He's probably just got a bit too much going on. In a similar way to like how Venus has. It's a tough one for me, because I really like the diversity of his kit. Maybe it should be something like just turn this into a 3-hitter. Not like a complete crazy nerf, but just turn it into a 3-hitter. Still with the poisons going out for 3 turns. Slightly reduces his damage scale on something like Dragon and Clan Boss without completely nerfing him into the ground. They've already kind of nerfed this A1, so you know that's already happened. But yeah, maybe just a small tweak down would be reasonable. But I don't want that to happen. Fushan, I think Fushan would be a really simple fix. He's already good, by the way. He's already a good champion, but just make this an AoE decreased defense, and then he's brilliant. Yeah, he goes from being good to being brilliant. The rest of his kit, I think, is cool. He hits hard. Just make this an AoE decreased defense. Make it more consistent. Razin, I think, is fine as he is. Skull Lord definitely needs a change, and I think his change is simple as well. Make this an AoE provoke. AoE provoke, and then all of a sudden he is really strong. At the moment, single target provoke, nah, it's not good enough. This is already good. This is already good. This is a waste of time. True Fear, but if you're getting down to minus max HP at 20%, when are you doing that? It never ever happens in the game. So this should do just a complete change. I think it should be something like increased damage when more than 3 debuffs are on a target type of thing. Something more along those lines. Or grants True Fear, bit like an Angar type ability. So if someone who is provoked attacks you, they then get True Fear on them. So the provoke wears off, but True Fear replaces it, which is actually quite a cool replacement. And it's not OP because True Fear is strong but not ridiculous. This is a waste of time as well. I think this should just be revives a Lizardman with 50% HP and 25% turn meter. So not Skullsworn, a Lizardman. So one of his faction, but they only get up to 25% turn meter instead of 50. And then this champion is insanely cool, you know? Even if you just did this change, though, it would be better. Krisk is probably the one out of everyone that potentially needs the nerf. He's got so much going on in his kit. He's a Void Legendary, I get that, so you wouldn't want to change him too much. You want him to be top draw, right? I like his A1. I like his A2. His A3 starts to become a bit insane for me, but I still don't mind it. I think it's his passive that you potentially would nerf. And I think that nerf maybe comes along the lines of remove one of these. Remove the decreased attack or the decreased defense. Or it's random which one hits. I kind of prefer the idea that it's not random because then you can choose if you want to use him for clan boss or not. But at the moment, everyone who attacks him gets this on. It's kind of too crazy. The rest of his kit is cool. He's got massive base defense. His multipliers are reasonable. I wouldn't change any of that. But maybe just a tweak on this passive so that he's not so crazy. So guys, that is my 3 factions for today. As ever, comment below. Try not to cry too much in your milk about it. And I'll do part 3 tomorrow. Catch you soon.